Hello again. Uta Hagen here with Trans Widows Testimonies, Ophelia, Part 3. Ophelia and I have in common that our then husbands could not take care of us as a spouse, in that having to hold until death us do part kind of way. Once again, I'm here with an artifact in front of my recycled barnwood wall. These are artifacts of, my children's childhood. And the thing about this husband who is so self-involved that he cannot care for you when you are seriously ill or in recovery from a surgery or something like that is something that Ophelia and I both experienced, and it's a quite devastating event to live through. And as a matter of fact, when I started talking to Ophelia, she said, "He haunts me." And I think that's a common sentiment from the ex-wives of men who ideate a female persona. So she related a story to me that was from her marriage. I'm not going to say exactly what the operation was she had to go into surgery for, but it was something like having her appendix removed or a gallbladder surgery, that type of thing. And so it was an internal surgery. It was, as many surgeries are now, an outpatient procedure. So that means that you come in and they do the medical procedure, and then you have to have somebody come and pick you up and take you home. And sometimes there's a certain amount of risk with going home so soon after a surgery, but that's the way our healthcare system works now. And you're expected to manage your care at home after what is considered minor surgery. So she was in the aftermath of this surgery, and Xavier, her husband, who was already at that point, so-called transitioning. So this is Xavier with a dress on, is somehow not getting it together to have the car parked and be there when this procedure is over at a hospital in a major city. And she just remembers vividly how much abdominal pain she was in, and that they basically moved her out of the hospital room because her person wasn't showing up. And then she was in the waiting room of the ER. And she was doubled over in pain and not able to get hold of Xavier, who wasn't even texting her about why he is taking so long. And so Xavier made his appearance in his dress into this waiting room of the ER and sailed around and made sure everybody noticed him, and he didn't see her. Why didn't he see her? Because she was doubled over in pain. And then she noticed him and kind of waved and, said, "Oh, where, hello, I'm over here," right? And he comes over and scolds her. He doesn't say, "Oh, darling, I'm so sorry that I didn't get here. I figured you'd still be in the room, but, so sorry that I took so long." But instead, He says, "Why are you doubled over like that? I couldn't see you." And do you realize how long it took me to park in this area? As if all of us who live in cities are unaware that the parking around hospitals is always bad. Um, and so I'm going to compare this to my experience after my son was born, when my younger son was 6 months old, and I came down with a very bad, almost deathly case of pneumonia. And my very good friend Emily, who unfortunately is no longer with us because of smoking and cancer, she took care of our older one full time. And I was managing to pump out milk and feed him formula. He took the bottle. Miraculously, after I recovered, he went back to breastfeeding. But I had 2 weeks of very, very high fevers, very, very frightening, coughing, a big, uh, ga- dark spot in my lung x-ray. And I think I probably needed to be taken to the ER at one point because I was dehydrated. And at one point, I actually thought I was going to die, and I thought, what will happen to my children? Now, of course, this is not knowing what was going on in Nettie's mind. And I do honestly think that in some subconscious way that he wanted me to die because he wasn't arranging my care. He wasn't calling a doctor and saying, my wife has so and so symptoms. We have a 3-year old and a 6-month old. I'm really, really worried. He wasn't calling anyone. And, I think at that point, Nettie's mother was a nurse. Um, and my parents came out and helped. And that was really great. And then they left. My fevers were minor at that point, but then I had a relapse, which often happens with pneumonia. And it was exactly a year later that I left, when our younger son was 1.5 and our older was 4.5, because I said to myself, he's proven to me that he is not capable of taking care of me. So I know it's crazy. It's crazy